Hello, very good morning and welcome to other newspaper highlights. Today is Sunday, 30th of May 2017. This is Edward with the highlights of today's English newspapers. We have taken 3 weekly newspapers for the highlights: the Sunday Times, the Sunday Observer and the Salon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Sunday Times. The main headline of the Sunday Times highlights: New anti-terrorism law undermines RTI. The Counter-Terrorism Act policy framework approved by the Cabinet this week has reintroduced offences originally listed under espionage while merely removing the word espionage from the document. As such, the draft makes it an offence to voluntarily engage in any illegal, unlawful or unauthorized act for the purpose of gathering any confidential information or directly gather confidential information for the purpose of supplying such information to a person who is conspiring, preparing, abetting or attempting to commit terrorism or any terrorism-related offence or any other offence contained in this act. Acute labour shortage in Sri Lanka. 200,000 foreigners working here. Foreign workers, both with and without work visas, are arriving in Sri Lanka with the country facing an acute labour shortage, a cabinet minister said yesterday. Megapolis and Western Development Minister Champika Ranawaka told the Sunday Times an estimated 200,000 strong foreign labour force was in Sri Lanka. He said the government should have strict immigration regulations to check the influx of foreign workers. SLFP UNP book 3,264 buses, 2 trains for May Day rallies. More than half the fleet of the state-run Sri Lanka Transport Board buses have been booked for May Day rallies by political parties, with the 2 main parties making most of the bookings, officials said. For its rally in Kandy, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party has booked 1,832 buses, while the United National Party has booked 1,432 buses for its Campbell Park rally. By Friday, 3,949 buses had been booked, Chief Operating Superintendent Chandrasri told the Sunday Times. The joint opposition had booked only 22 buses to transport its supporters for its rally at the Goldface Green. The Janata Vimukti Peramuna has booked 209 buses. In addition, the SLFP and the UNP have also booked 2 trains. Secondly, let's move to Salon Today. The main headline of the Salon Today highlights: tight May Day security. Government to deploy 7,600 cops. The police department will deploy over 7,600 police officers of several ranks in a bid to ensure the tight possible security at the May Day rally venues, as well as to ensure a smooth flow of traffic where May Day processions and protest demonstrations are scheduled to be staged. Colombo and Kandy will specifically come under tight security blankets to ensure the peace throughout the day, a top police source said. The sources added that a huge force of over 4,100 policemen will be deployed to tighten security in Colombo and control traffic in the metropolis alone tomorrow. The SLFP's May Day rally will take center stage in Kandy, where over 3,500 policemen will be deployed to boost security throughout the day. CBSL retires 64 billion rupees treasury bills. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka last Friday retired 64.1 billion rupees in treasury bills it was holding, thereby reducing its money printing stock by 20.2% to 253 billion rupees Friday over Thursday, data showed. MP is defined as CBSL's direct holding of treasury bills, inclusive of related borrowing costs. CBSL indulges in MP to help meet the government of Sri Lanka's various monetary requirements due to the absence of adequate revenue or to higher borrowing costs demanded by the market. Ranil's economic war: taming the Chinese dragon, Indian tiger and Theos. 3 things came out of Premier Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to India last week. Those were India's concerns over the leasing out of the Hambantota port to Chinese in a debt swap, India's interest in the Trincomalee oil tank farm to counter the Chinese threat, and Wickremesinghe's keenness in getting Indian aid to development certain northern roads linking up with the east and the south of the country in a tourism promotional push. Finally, let's move to the Sunday Observer. Reaching upper middle income status by 2019 must maintain current economic growth rate. Sri Lanka is expected to attain upper middle income status by 2019 if it maintains its current economic growth. Head of Trade at EU delegation in Colombo, Paul Godfrey said. Sri Lanka maintained a steady economic growth of 4.4% last year, while it was at 4.8% in the previous year, according to the central bank. On Thursday, the EU Parliament defeated a motion for a resolution objecting to recommendation by the European Commission to grant GSP Plus status to Sri Lanka. Foreign Affairs Deputy Minister said, with this, the biggest hurdle was removed for Sri Lanka. He said the cabinet approval for the new counter-terrorism legislation helped to thwart the last-minute attempt to block us from getting the concession. President Maithripala says, no agreement to be signed during Indian Prime Minister's visit. President Maithripala called on the people not to be carried away by false news published in social media pertaining to the Indian Prime Minister's visit to Sri Lanka during the Vesak week. The president said that parties attempting to sabotage the good relations the government has developed with international communities spread false statements that the Sri Lankan government had laid plans to hand over certain parts of the country to India. He reiterated that no such agreements will be signed during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival and that his visit is merely to take part in religious activities. With that, let's come to the end of today's paper highlights. We will come with more news tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening to other news paper highlights.